So what do you think the most popular biscuit is voted by the UK?
What, for having with your tea?
Yeah.
Digestive?
No. Biscoff.
Biscoff?
Yeah. Anyway.
Hello and welcome to Podpadstudios. I'm Mrs. Breaker.
I'm Master Maker.
You haven't heard from us for a while, but here we are.
No, we've been incredibly busy with loads of things going on. And what have we been doing?
A few commercial shows.
Yeah, we got back from the NEC a couple of days ago, which was an amazing show there, wasn't it, at the NEC?
This was the Smart Manufacturing and Engineering show, which was part of Smart Manufacturing Engineering Week. There was loads of different shows on, but it was basically people using AI and smart technology for commercial purposes.
So we took Tiffany up to that one and she went down quite well because obviously, as you could imagine, in that world, they don't always get used to seeing a 10-foot high entertainment robot.
Met loads of other little robots that came to the stand.
She did, and we played around with the object recognition. We did a lot more with the object recognition.
Yeah.
So we had it kind of actually triggering events and doing other bits and pieces. And I think people were quite taken on.
Yeah, we met loads of
how
people
we were playing
who were
with
actually
that.
building object libraries, because object recognition depends on an object library.
Yeah.
And the one we use is Coco, which is widely used. It's relatively old. Microsoft started it 7 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
And it recognises just 80 things. So they're just random things like dog, cat and that. However, I met people who are actually doing very specific object libraries. So they were using that sort of technology to run production lines and count how much stuff came off the end of the production line, which means you need to identify the item, which means you have to build up a library of pictures for the items that company makes.
I think what it did, it made us think a little bit more about the object recognition, and maybe we're using the Raspberry Pi 4, which is awesome, and low power consumption, but what we are...
Very rugged.
Rugged, that is absolutely true. It will absolutely,
Tiffany obviously shakes about a lot. And
she powers down sometimes and powers up, and it works as well, because obviously we have a tether system on Tiffany when we're just parked up, but when she's driving around, the object recognition works as well with her driving around as it does when she's static, but we could do with a bit more computing power.
Well, the other thing we could do is we could train it a lot more. We haven't really started even doing that. So, for example, there was a red floor at this exhibition, whereas most of the images are probably in Coco, and I've looked at some, they have kind of grey or neutral floors, because most of those images are taken from Shutterstock. So a lot of them don't have red floors, and our accuracy was a little bit lower than in other shows.
So we've got we have the fake gun that we can point Hatterants, that kind of stuff, and there's a black band of carpet and then a band of red carpet, and sometimes it couldn't differentiate.
So it was a black gun.
It just couldn't pick it up.
No.
And that's been trained with like loads and loads of images. But I also think it's down to processing power. Unfortunately, the Raspberry Pi just doesn't have the power
Master Maker wants to buy
that we
another
need.
bit of kit.
So obviously we knew about the Jetson Nano.
Yeah.
We might, and using the TensorFlow library, so that what it means will be we can do the object recognition, but we can also do the facial recognition at the same time.
Yeah.
So that means it can recognise us and other bits and pieces. I think experimenting with that. Obviously there's the new Jetson Orion, but they're very expensive, and the question is
that much power?
Whether we need that much power.
Just demonstrating it to people and explaining what it was.
Yeah.
It was amazing how there were some real experts in their field there, but if they didn't happen to have this as their field,
that's true.
And then when they did have this as their field, they were saying, "Okay, I've built an image recognition library for." There was one person who'd done it for drones versus birds. And he says that there's a huge application for that commercially, whether that's in...
it was fascinating, actually.
Yeah, it was really, really interesting. We also met, for example, a farmer who was looking to find someone to actually create a system to pick his tomatoes because he had no we couldn't find people.
So the show was also, it had elements of robotics and AI, didn't it? And that's where
there was a lot of robots on stands, which are actually what you think of when you think of a robot in commercial.
But you don't think of it, do you? A farmer picking his tomatoes, he can't get the casual labour to pick the tomatoes, so he's looking for an automated solution to pick tomatoes, which was
he had actually not
amazing.
Milked his cows himself for the last year and a half because he's got robots doing it. He's got that system working.
Anyway, you will get the chance to see Tiffany demonstrating all that at, we're going to
first things first, Swindon Comic Con, 22nd of June. 22nd of June, 2 weeks' time, couple of weeks' time. It's at Steam Museum, so pop in and see us because we'll be there. All the usual fun of the fair there, loads of signers.
Now we're not taking Tiffany to that one, we'll have the dragons.
No, dragons there.
There's dragons at that one.
And then next one is Tiffany, which I'm reading the board, is at M Shed on the 7th of July.
Now it's quite a small event now, but go along because there's so much.
They're saying there's going to be loads of space.
Completely free of charge.
Loads of makers.
Swindon Comic Con isn't free of charge, but the makers
M Shed will be. That's in Bristol.
And we'll take Tiffany if we can fit her in.
I'm sure we will. There's be loads and loads of people who make their own droids there. So if you're into making things, it's a great place to go to get tips.
There's another couple of there's the REME.
The REME is 31st of August.
That's here again in Swindon.
That will be
Wootton Bassett.
Wootton Bassett, Lynham.
We got something very special we're taking to that one. So we're not going to tell you what that is at the moment.
First time out for the thing we're taking to that one.
So again, it is kind of film related and all that, but we're not going to tell you what that is at the moment.
And
that's
then
special.
we've probably got a walk on maybe with Vicky and K9. We're thinking of doing Fantasy Forest.
We might do Fantasy Forest
so
this
that
year.
Is the 19th to the 21st of July. So
that'll be
I'll quick reading the board over there because I don't know.
In fact, it's going to be quite memorable because it'll be Mrs. Breaker's first time driving K9.
Yeah, a bit of dog training.
So I'm going to fit, you know those things they used to have like inflatable cushions? I'm going to fit them around K9. And if I see him charging towards something at top speed, I'm going to hit the button and be like...
Oh, no, it's not going to be...
And it will just inflate, like a K9, K7 of 9 airbag.
We're going to use a special trainer radio that we can actually...
We're going to experiment with the new trainer radio system.
So
I can go flick of a button, boom, I have control. Although, saying that'll be fun if I'm actually driving Vicky at the same time.
No.
So, yeah.
We'll only do that if we're completely happy.
And then, obviously, our big do in September.
Oh, yes. Then, we haven't actually announced this yet, but we need to announce it now.
Yeah.
At the end of September, the 21st, 22nd, 28th and 29th, we will be down in the Carriage Works in Swindon. So it's a central location with car parking nearby. The station is a 2-minute walk away. Bus station is 2-minute walk away. So it's very, very easy to get to. It's a free event. It will be on from 11 till 4. Last entrance at 3:30.
So the way it works is that as part of the Open Studios exhibition in Swindon, which we've been involved with a number of years now, we've displayed from our own studios here bits and pieces. What we've managed to do is secure an enormous location in the heart of Swindon with the support of lots of partners that we're working with. And basically, we're going to display absolutely everything.
So we never had space here to show everything off properly.
So there'll be stuff that you've seen and stuff that you haven't seen before, and it's completely free of charge.
That's right.
But you have got to come to us.
So you're going to be entering through Create Studios, who've very kindly partnered with us.
Yeah.
They're going to be providing yummy cakes and teas.
Refreshments.
And they're obviously studios, so they'll have digital artists with them. And they've got a couple of illustrators in there as well, one of which is another partner of ours, Zozo Thomas.
So I was going to say that if you're bored with our stuff,
there's loads of other stuff.
We have basically working with these partners, but also we're also hosting a number of
15
two-dimensional artists.
Yeah, 15.
And the idea, because we've got such a big space, there'll be stuff displayed on the walls. There's all sorts.
Jewellery makers.
This is quite a major event.
Yeah, potters.
It runs over the 2 weekends and during the week, and obviously we'll announce a lot more as we go on.
Yeah.
We're going to have a very special day, which we're going to dedicate mainly to children, to families.
Yeah.
And we're going to pick it up. It's almost going to be like another mini Swindon Comic Con that we're going to do.
So that'll be on the 28th. But we'll give you a lot more detail then for those 2 weekends. And we'll probably be open during the week in the afternoons for special visits, private views. So that's that. And then we're going to finish with a little bit of chat about a tank.
Well, I've been doing, so basically...
Which I thought was finished, but...
I had a few problems with the tank transport, because obviously we're doing it for the thing that we're doing it for, and when we put the little truck that was pulling the trailer, when we put the tank onto the trailer, because the tank weighs so much, it's nearly 100 kilos, it was struggling to go around corners. Now the real ones, the real tank transporters, have of course steerable trailer wheels. Mine didn't, hence it couldn't go around corners properly. So I kind of scrapped it, started again, and we've now got a, well, it's like the real thing really, isn't it? But a 1/6 scale, so all the wheels steer. So as the trailer goes around, the tractor goes around the corner and steers, the trailer steers with it, and it means it works much, much better. So yeah, I'm still waiting for some bits and pieces and parts, but basically we've got a little bit of video here that you can see with me playing. Hi, so here we are then. Almost complete, almost complete. There's a few more details to put on the cab roof, but on the whole, this one is ready to go. Now, what's it all for? Well, if you remember before, I talked a little bit about filming and the advantages of filming bigger models, bigger 1/6 scale models. The beauty of 1/6 scale is that you can get really in close with the camera, so all of the details that you can see. There are a few, it's a little bit more dressing to do on, a little bit more painting to do, but on the whole, we're kind of there with this one. I've added a few bits and pieces on here, which, to be honest, don't really need to be added on here because they're just going to be added in post-production anyway. Things like sound, so obviously we got sound. So this kind of operates completely independently as a theatrical model. But obviously there'll be things that will be overdubbed in the post-production stage. Things like sound, probably a little bit more detailing on the wheels and things like that. But on the whole, you know, we're as close as I'm going to get to the brief and the model that we needed to produce. Obviously, if you were to hire something like this full size, if you were to hire a real version of something like this, although you can't get a real version of something like this because this is a science fiction version of this, it would cost a fortune for filming it. So it's much, much easier and far more viable to build a bigger model. But anyway, let me give you kind of a little rundown what we've got. You can see 1/6 scale, no idea what it weighs. I'm going to stick it on the scales at some point today and we'll have a look and we'll see. But I would imagine in the region of about 60 to 70 kilos. So it's not too bad. And then obviously with the trailer on, I think we're probably getting up to probably 100 kilos or so. Now that is a lot to ask the little motor to do, but I'm not exactly going to drive this in situations where it's going to be driven in mountainous terrain or whatever. The shot that it's being used in is on a kind of a runway flat area, so it doesn't even need to go up hills. So there's no point in making it four-wheel drive and all that kind of stuff. After the filming, I am going to experiment with extra motors and stuff like that and see what I can come up with and maybe give it a little bit more power. Right, what else? Obviously it has to have the usual kill switches, which are all kind of strategically kind of hidden on this one. But obviously on a different kind of model, they'll be a bit more visible. We can get to everything. Obviously all the electronics, as I've showed you, are in here. This whole clip here comes off. And then I got access to everything I need to get access to. The speed controllers, the fuses, radio, batteries, everything is there. I'm running the smoke unit off a separate battery because the high volume smoke unit we've got on here does take a fair amount of current. So it made it more, it seemed to be more logical to put it onto a different battery system. The cab obviously all tilts up. Obviously we've got the radar on here now that turns. We've got a little bit of lighting in there. Windscreen wipers didn't need to move. These obviously all work. Anyway, I'll give you a quick demo. I'll power it up. I said you can just power it up on there. And you can hear all the fans spinning up because obviously we've got much bigger fans in here. So you might remember that early on I talked about a big sound system. It wasn't really necessary to do that because, as I said, it's all going to be added in post-production anyway. So what I've done is replace these two speakers that were here for cooling fans, and we're using a slightly different sound system on here now. I'll start it up on the radio. So I've got the radio kind of here hidden in the background. I'll start it up so you can kind of hear. He says.
Brakes off.
So as you can see, it's starting to look the part. As I said, it needs a little bit of weathering, but all the electronics are in. Everything works on different kind of terrains. I'm not going to demo the smoke system. I turned it off there because I'm inside, and it does produce a fair old amount, but it's going to be used outside. So there you have it. This is our tank transporter. What we'll do is we'll get some videos done of it all running with the tank on it once everything is complete. Now, obviously, I did have a little bit of a problem with the tank trailer, the tank transporter trailer, and I'll kind of give you a few details on that as well. So you can see here what I've been doing with the trailer section of the tank transporter. It's flipped upside down, so what we're doing is looking at the main wheels. You can see now that basically each axle has got much, much better suspension, and I've just mocking up at the moment basically the 8-wheel steering system. So I'll give you a quick demo. You can actually see here, see the wheels moving. It's just rigged up to this radio. So that will be linked in. That'll be linked in with the main steering on the tractor unit. So when the tractor unit turns, this will follow and this will turn as well.
What's that you got there then?
Oh, yeah, so it's interesting. I'm playing around with Tiffany, with the drive systems on Tiffany. Interestingly, we fitted a new speed control system to Tiffany, which we're going to experiment with.
Probably put that in the next video, actually. Yeah, a bit more detail about regen
of the technology, and it's been fascinating actually. And I must admit, the manufacturers who make these products have been brilliant. I've got to give them that.
Yeah.
In their sharing technical knowledge and how these things work. No, this is a few little extras that I'm going to add to Tiffany. I thought Tiffany needed a bit of bling. Now, when we went to the show, she was displayed really nicely. So I just thought I bought this, which is a little bit of
pink pinstripe.
Hot pink pinstriping. So Tiffany's going to get a bit of hot pink pinstriping.
Really?
And some more LEDs, which you can never have too many LEDs.
And
these LEDs are awesome.
Where do you think we should put the pinstripe? Answers down below. And we see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe and click that button. Bye.
Bye.